Welcome back to Sleeping Dogs, Frere.
Hello, Varos. That's a rather, upfront introduction.
Well, I just figured I'd try to be courteous this time, since I've been just so rude to you in the video introductions lately.
Oh, is that why you're wearing the suit instead of the horrendous orange track pants?
Wei Shin, and subsequently me, is a classy man.
Mhm.
I have good grammar. And that's why he prays at health shrines like a good man should in this city.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way they'll stop glowing like in the real Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is our bad apartment. We're gonna have it for most of the game. We've seen it before. It's probably my favorite apartment of the game as well. It's got so much character, and you can tell that they really developed the earlier areas more than the later ones.
You're telling me there's more than one apartment?
I'm also telling you there's more than one motorcycle, but I end up taking the bad one.
Oh my god.
Because it's better.
Oh my god.
So, this is my favorite motorcycle. It's also maybe the slowest motorcycle in the game that actually has a motor in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so bad at getting me places fast and
It's
with any
also
turning
really bad
speed.
at breaking glass.
Yeah. It's also really bad at triggering events, apparently.
It's really good at time fast-forwarding. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I hit 88 miles an hour, so
Oh, okay.
don't worry. It works. It also works in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
It's not continent specific.
Okay. And that there was, like, you got... What?
We triggered a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the green missions are with Winston and crew, and the blue missions are police.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, you took a chance on me, Winston. I wanted to make sure it paid off.
You got the right attitude. It's gonna pay off for you.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, boy.
You know anything about the minibus racket?
Same as
I really
everyone.
love
You wanna drive a good
Winston's
round?
mom shouting orders in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You know the
It
pickup
it
on
gives a
Long
lot of
Drive?
character, at least in that,
The most
like...
profitable route in the
It
whole
may be a
fucking
front for,
From now
like,
on, it's yours.
illegal activity,
Thanks. I
obviously.
appreciate it, Winston.
But it at
And-
least makes it seem like someone
Dog.
cares about the front.
Right now
Fair
it's
enough.
his route.
And in the context of this restaurant, you can call us a waiter, because today,
Ah, fuck it.
we're busing.
Mm-hmm.
Literal busing, though, like with the bus.
Take
Oh,
one of the guys
oh.
Remember that ramming thing that I showed you last video, where you can ram left, right, or forward?
Mm-hmm.
Two things. One, I verified you cannot ram backwards,
Okay.
even though you should be able to.
Right.
Taking over
Second,
Marlboro Drive. One man per
This is a
stop,
huge
and you
bus,
give
and
them
we're doing
shit.
it in here today.
Smack them around, no killing.
What, afraid
This
of
thing
him?
accelerates really slowly, but you just saw me ram forward.
Not declaring war.
This,
That's
oh
to the
my
right.
God.
Yep.
Uh,
This is
requesting for the next video, do nothing but left and right all the time.
that's the only way I can steer now.
Well, when you think about it, steering is just repeated left movement.
That's true. This is also one of very few missions in the game where we actually get to let other people fight for us, instead of just fighting off like 20 million dudes like we will in a couple updates.
20 million, not hyperbole at all.
20 million. But we also still have to fight dudes. No transition from off the bus, just here's an arena.
Teleport outside.
This is like... this game to me is like, other than the cutscenes and the story, it's like, what if a Sega Genesis game was in 3D 20 years after the fact?
Mhm.
It's
So
all
now we're in
brawling.
the Streets of Rage segment.
Yes, which is, a good 60% of the game. And it's only that because there's so much open world driving I have to do.
You know, it didn't occur to me. Are you able to throw enemies in front of cars?
I've never... well, okay. Considering the tools, theoretically, yes, but the cars were generally pretty good at avoiding you. Like, I don't know if I was ever really even hit by a car on accident in this game, whereas in all open world games, I get hit by cars, like, hundreds of times.
Well, you just hit that guy with your bus, but I don't think that one's counting.
Well, he was a corpse already. I was just
Yeah.
thinking of a double corpse.
But, I mean more so, like, it seems like in this game that's trying to prioritize, like, environmental kills and sticking people into fan blades. It seems like that's a missed opportunity.
Well, in a game where I would actually care about things like, property damage and cop score, I probably wouldn't give any kind of shit about environmental stuff because I'd be breaking too much stuff, and that would be hurting me. But maybe I'll try to show some more of that stuff off and stop hitting trees in the median.
Maybe.
In a world where I could do more of that stuff.
Maybe.
Are you insane?
We'll
Are
see.
you insane? I think this city has the openness of something like L.A. Noire. Like, L.A. Noire ended up being open just because it was kind of barren, whereas this has a lot of detail, but it's still open, at least more open than I'd expect it to be.
Mhm.
I think that has a lot to do with the scale of the world, in the sense that in some games that are open world, they convey to you a large scale, even though they are incredibly small scale. And so, in this case, we have a lot more space to beat the shit out of this driver with our bus.
Right.
This is where the ramming will come in handy. I also just love the neon lights. Like, obviously the starting areas are more detailed, but these are definitely, like, the main streets are still incredibly vibrant.
Mhm.
It reminds you of, like, what Stalker, or not Stalker, you were talking about Stalker earlier, what a Snatcher would be like if it were actually modeled in 3D. And not just, like, 2D pixels.
Watch out for people with lotion at night.
This is usually the worst part of, like, the driving, is that I'm pretty good I'm pretty good at, like, doing the objective.
Had to catch
But this-
yourself there.
This driver is not good at accelerating, and you have to go a certain speed in order to do the ramming. And so, like, for instance, right here, there's 0 things I can do.
Well,
Because even though I've totally annihilated him, it's not like Need for Speed, where if you stop him for, like, 5 seconds, you capture him or whatever.
there's no option to get out on the roof and use a can opener or something.
And I don't know if there's a way to do this without property damage, because you notice that every time I'm hitting that car, I lose cop score,
Right.
which is, kind of worthless. Also,
Well, especially after that DLC stuff.
yeah, this game isn't exactly the best at using its own systems and cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I don't know if you've noticed kind of a change noise every time we hit a parking meter, but every time we do that, I'll try to point it out next time it happens. We actually do get, like, money from it. So, like, for instance, we hit it, like, 3 in a row back earlier. We ended up getting $83 just for, like, destroying 3 parking meters.
So, wait, that means you lose cop reputation, but you gain cash for destroying?
Correct.
But,
Which, in the game of cop score versus money, I'm all about the G's.
but wait a minute, I thought the DLC, one of them was you get cop score, which means that you bribe the cops for better cop ranking, and then they pay you in game for cop ranking?
In a world where all of this is real, I don't know, but most of those things that gave me a ton of cop experience were like, oh, you bought this DLC, or in this case, they gave me this DLC pack that had an extras chase mission inside of it, and because of that, we'll also give you some XP, for to boost your wild. It's kind of like a non-malicious time saver, because I don't think I paid anything for him.
Right.
Though I doubt it would be like that on not Steam. The ramming on this you think would be fun to watch because it is like a huge bus, but because it accelerates so slowly, and you know it's going to have a lot of mass when it hits those things like that, it's interesting, but I don't know. I like driving motorcycles. It's a much larger risk-reward.
Right. It's also funny because, like, you mentioned the feel, and I did mention a little bit earlier about, like, well, specifically you mentioned mass. And it's so hard to get that conveyance right.
Like, it feels good when you ram into something like using a controller to drive around and stuff. Like, it really does feel excellent, but I think that there's so much stuff that they do with cars in this game, like to an incredible degree of just craziness, that this is actually ends up being one of the more tame things in the game. This is actually a game that we'll get to some of the open world races soon, and I really enjoy those because the handling in this game is so crazy and weird, and because they're not that gracious. Also, I killed all the dudes, but I scared the
Nice
hell out of my
job.
passengers, and so I'm just so used to racing. I can't, even when I'm driving a bus, I can't drive sanely.
Well, I
Plus,
mean, you
they have-
mentioned insane. I'm assuming in a good way.
in a very good way.
Okay.
But yeah, you notice that meter before said driver harassment and then said passenger satisfaction. I ended up saving time because of that fail state, but that meter on the left is not very well conveyed at any point in the game.
So failing to save time.
Well, it's more that, like, it just switches, and the feedback on that meter is so bad that they use that for a bunch of stuff, but I never feel like it's a useful system.
Right.
But we have completed the minibus racket, so I figured that we'd take the bus over to the next mission.
That was awful.
I do grammar real great. I don't know what you talk about. They finally gave me access to some of the contacts, but I don't really... I'm not going to use this phone nearly as much in later updates, because I don't think it's that interesting.
Right.
Some of the cool stuff on that phone, though, there are some psychiatric evaluations of Wei Shen that you can read, like, that are from his psychiatrist, that was sanctioned by the police, and those get pretty funny, and I think accurate to that next kind of meta degree. Like, it's kind of like they asked the character developers what they thought of Wei Shen on a deeper level, and then they wrote it and found a way to shoehorn it in.
Right. Well, it's always funny because trying to find, like, how do I put it? Trying to get that kind of stuff out of a character where it's kind of a blank slate is really hard.
Agreed.
So.
And you know, these kind of games have avatars that are supposed to be avatars for the player that you can do anything you want with, even knock over dudes with barrels and then kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, what would a psychologist say about that?
There are a variety of options in games like this, and it's hard to create any kind of character development that makes you feel like you're still in control.
Just playing the part.
But back to the matter at hand, we're working with our fellow detectives in order to shut down some of the racketeering and some of the criminal activity around Hong Kong.
I'll help where I can. What?
I'm just a little shocked.
So that ends up being, like, I think the biggest conceit of the game is the balance between busting everything that moves and convincing everyone that you're legit. And Wei is a charismatic enough person to pull that balance off. But I think...
Which does actually fit with the game mechanics, too, which is pretty interesting.
And I think that's what makes this one of my favorite open-world games of all time, is that balance is not only interesting, but the cinematics end up giving them a space to pull it off really well.
Did you look at the overnights?
The question is, if you have, like, 0 cop rank at the end of the game, is it gonna go, haha, you're a terrible cop, get the fuck out?
No,
I'm pretty sure the storyline is completely linear in that sense, and especially in the cinematic sense. But,
I don't know. Alright.
You definitely do some uncop-like things in order to, you know, end justifies a means, utilitarian stuff. I also forget where the door is, because I'm dumb.
I thought that was the door as well.
Oh, the red door, not the gray one. I'll remember that later on. But there's no way I'm taking that bus.
You're just gonna run over to whatever that glowy thing was and ride that?
There was a glowy blue box earlier, but as I told you before, I hate blue boxes. They're pointless collectibles.
Okay.
So today we're going to take the good motorcycle. Because it drives faster. The parking places are all over the game, and there's a DLC called, like, the Red Envelope Pack that we saw before.
Nice.
That was actually a pretty good crash. I like the helmet, too. He automatically put on a helmet just like in GTA 5 and stuff.
He just pulls it out of his ass?
Yeah, and then he just like throws it on the ground when you're done. Which I think is even better. I do think they always make it come out of the motorbike, not actually like just out of his pants or something. But it's always pretty funny. But yeah, I think that's a good balance, and I think that's why I like this game in particular. Is it does a good job of like fooling me into having agency, because that's like the problem with open world games, right? Is like too often you go so off the rails because you can, and because you're supposed to. You're a criminal. You can do whatever you want. That you end up having no more morality, no intent to stay on track, and this game does a better job of that by keeping me on track, as you can see.
Well, I mean, for me, I rarely finish games, and, like, when I played San Andreas, the first, like, 8 hours of the entire experience for me were doing nothing but flying planes, driving off cliffs, driving off roads, so...
Because all that stuff was kind of new at the time. But after the immense fatigue of this past console generation, it's kind of nice to get a point for all of them again.
I'm just about out.
As you could see earlier, I literally killed an innocent person, and I didn't even lose one whole cop score symbol.
He was kind of a dick anyway.
Exactly, he was sitting on the street. He was asking for it.
Mm-hmm. Brutally murder him with your fist.
I mean, I'm not even gonna kill Popstar, the dude who we're trying to bust right now. By the way, can you think of a better name for a drug racketeer than Popstar? One word. I feel like that's some of the Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee hokey criminals development leftovers. Just in the sense that those movies never had good enemy development. They would just always have that one scene where they would show their skills to note by kicking the air and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this dude has the exact same amount of development, even though he's not an optional person to take on.
Well, his character development is he has a couch.
He does have an outside couch.
He does.
That's probably a pretty grody couch.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it.
I gotta get paid in advance. I'll make it easy for you.
This game has an interesting way to handle busting people that goes beyond just the main missions where they tell you what to do. Basically, every district of the city, basically every neighborhood in each district of the city has their own place where drug deals like to happen. And the cops can't bust these dudes. You have to kill everyone there and then hack the security camera.
What?
You're the only one good enough to kill everyone, apparently. By, beating them all up and throwing them in there, and then hacking the security camera and busting them passively. I don't even know if that guy was an enemy. But
Wait.
It treated it like I ran him into a wall, not like I ran him into the vending machine.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming this doesn't happen often.
What, the drug bust stuff?
No. I mean, it misinterpreting what you want it to do.
With those there's definitely different categories of the kind of red flashy throw guys into this stuff. The phone booths are easy and impossible to miss because they're, inside, there's no wall in the front of it. Whereas those vending machines, you can run them into the sides and stuff, and it gets kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. So, you also said, hey, you have to hack security cameras?
You got my money?
Yep.
Got your money. Here's your package.
I believe we do that in this mission. Actually, I know it's coming up with the Popstar stuff, but I don't remember exactly. For now, the cops are randomly running up in what is easily the best scripted event of all time.
I love how they turn the corner a perfect 90 degrees.
Also, someone stole, or at least they deactivated my motorbike's placement, or my motorcycle placement. So, yeah, I end up handcuffing the cops and cheesing it.
Where did you get the handcuffs?
I used his own handcuffs.
Ooh, fancy.
I'm the best undercover cop there ever was.
Uh-huh.
Give me your Honda. I do like how all the license plates basically look exactly the same. And a lot of them actually are the same as well.
It's a thing. It doesn't matter too much.
I'm surprised that there's so much there's so many cars in this game. Because I figured a city like this would have a lot more public transportation. The taxis make sense, but
I'll get back to you.
Alright, and going back to what I was really confused about, hack the security cameras?
yeah. So basically, you open the equivalent of a fuse box, and we'll get to it in I believe the next update when we get a bug that allows us to do that. And then we actually you go back to your own apartment, to your own television, and that's how you, survey and nab the dudes who are dealing drugs in public. At the exact spot where 10 minutes ago someone beat everyone up to pulps.
I was about to say, oh, you use a bug, as in you plug it in and it magically solves it. Okay, I'm cool with that. I was wondering how fucking Wei Shin over here knew how to, just magically hack computers.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he knows how to use a smartphone. It's basically the same thing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, this is what, like a checklist. OmniPlanner.
That's some pretty intense shit.
We're using the HKPD's own version of their iPhone, which they reverse engineered.
You know, I would think it would be very, very bad to have a cop have, like an undercover cop, have a phone that has HKPD randomly show up on it.
It would be pretty easy to say, hey, just show me your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop.
That would be entrapment. Purgatory.
Oh man. I feel like all I wanted from a game like this is the reverse of that first, like, drug deal that goes bad in GTA 4. Where the dude is like, hands up above your head, motherfuckers! It, like, goes crazy. 'Cause he's just been offered some pot.
I haven't seen that.
Well, you end up not getting that, because Way's, like, a really clever dude.
Mhm.
But at some point, you do just want to be, like, the uptight, hard-boiled cop. Which, I mean, I am wearing a detective's uniform right now, so I guess I'm kind of doing that.
Well, it's a little bloody, so...
This video has also introduced a lot more of I think, a new concept of the brawling, where it'll, even the mundane, like, punches that are normally thrown at me, that if I don't counter them, I sometimes still have the chance to mash a QTE, and then it'll counter them. Which ends up being kind of a weird phenomenon, but it works pretty well, just because, as with a lot of the things, they give you a large, gracious time period. And, oh yeah, we do hack a camera in this video.
Oh boy.
Without the bug. I'll take it. We hack it with our cell phone,
Ooh.
which makes even less sense. Also, look how dusty our cell phone is. You think that that would be the least dusty part of the cell phone, since that's what the
This
buttons
is memory. This is memory.
are. It's kind of memory. You just do the same thing the whole time. You just test all the other numbers.
I suck at memory, by the way.
It's not great, but it's pretty easy. Also, there's no, like, limited number of tries. It's not like a Saints Row minigame or anything.
I was gonna say, do they stay the same in case you fail? But I guess
sometimes you have to do it with a hard timer, but all you have to do is, like, hit the buttons faster.
Mm-hmm.
Or then again, I probably would have beaten any timer in the game with that performance I just had, which wasn't crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta use a health shrine. While blood is, like, splattered on my coat.
I'm wondering if you're going to run into a health shrine with the motorcycle. The irony is just too high.
Well, the health shrine would win in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I would either fly over, or to the sides, or just stop entirely. Or the motorcycle would explode.
Violently.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I've ever had a car explode on me in this game.
That's weird.
This game does a lot of, like, what you were saying last video, where it measures, like, what's fun and what's not. And if it's not fun, they just take it out.
Right.
Because there's so much to do already, there's no point in making things bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, cars exploding is generally regarded as fun, solely because, like, you get to explode other cars that aren't yours. And then the second that your cars explode, no one likes it, so...
Or the second you go through the windshield in Liberty City, it's like, ugh.
Off a bridge.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this isn't fun at all. Like, it's kind of funny in that, like, cosmic way.
Oh, there they are.
Be happy with a criminal.
He's not doing anything illegal, Lao Mao.
Yeah, sure. Legitimate people are always dealing with lowlifes and hookers in back alley.
He's just talking with friends.
Did I raise the stupid starter on the
Trying to get
island?
into this.
You're doing pretty well.
Talk to me! Please talk to me! I like women! Talk to me!
He's not doing anything illegal, comes home covered in blood.
But I have to remember, I'm on the job, and I have some criminals to catch.
Mm-hmm.
Like those criminals who were not 3 minutes ago, like, beaten up in front of that camera.
Oh, yeah.
And also, we're home. We should relax a little bit.
Fuck you. You did this intentionally to fuck with me, didn't you?
I wanted to play with your expectations. Is he gonna do it? He's gonna do it every time. So we connect to a security camera. It actually has to render. Like, the connecting screen is a loading screen for this. And by the way, it's always the dude with the briefcase.
Wait, really?
It's always not. It is not complicated. It is literally 100% of the time, the dude with the briefcase, and everyone cheeses it except for the dude you like press A for. So
That seems like it could have been a really interesting thing.
well, it's a job well done.
Tang, this is Wei. Fang Shan is down. Popstar will have to reach out to another supplier. I'm thinking
Well,
we
rest
might
in
have
peace,
an
Popstar.
Now, if you don't mind, Inspector Tang, I'm gonna play around with that ninja sword on the right side of the screen.
Can you have your people send something over?
All right. Keep me informed.
Got it.
Well, we've done our necessary duty as a policeman today. Wearing my good orange track shorts. Checking all the lists.
Getting cop experience.
Getting all the cop experience. Arrested supplier, what a unique name.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a psych evaluation.
Is it going to talk about your ninja sword?
Unfortunately, no. If anyone wants to read that, I guess they could just pause the video. I just kind of roll through really quickly. It is interesting enough. I'm sure they're also online somewhere. But, well, Ferrer, it's been nice being a cop with you today,
It has.
as always. And next time, we're going to blow up some more cakes.
Delicious.
Tune in then.
Later.
Later.